so this is officially my last leg day until I start beefing up again. And following the theme of all the other lifts, it's going to be a little bit on the chill side. This is most certainly not a leg day that I would stand behind as an absolute quad grower and hamstring thickener and overall lower body builder. But what I'm really aiming for is a pump. I'm talking some light squeezing sets, maybe a touch heavier, like within reason, of course. But no need for any crazy heavy squats, anything like that, because with serious leg training, like actual multiple, like two, sometimes only do one top set of squats, and then move on to more controlled quad movement like leg press or things like that. But with those lifts, like go back 4 months to the leg days I was doing an American barbell, where it was like 10, 11 plates on the hip press, 5 sets of those, 5.5 plates on the Smith machine, and then 3 plate RDLs on the Smith, and really heavy laying leg curls. That's more of a quad builder, right? Totally wreck them, but I'm also full of 700-800 grams of carbs a day and a crazy amount of rest and everything else, so I can really recover from those lifts. Right? So in my current state, all I need to do is really just make sure these things still work, and then check out the leg pump, see how kind of veiny we're looking at my current 8-day out state, and go home. No post-lift cardio. Well, I don't know, I might just do like 15 or so minutes on the treadmill. I still did my 30 minutes on the seated bike this morning, but after legs, especially in a steep deficit now, I'm running off of about 100 grams of carbs, 30 of fats, 150 of protein-ish throughout the day. I've got about 100 grams of protein left. The actual fatigue of doing cardio post-lift, if the cardio is leg-based, but that's something I am concerned with. Now, the other workouts like chest and back and arms and shoulders and everything else I'm going to do for the rest of this week, getting into next week, 30 minutes of cardio afterward, that's all right. And typically I would say that's a little counterintuitive, because you can pretty much do your cardio at you can do it at a million different times throughout the day, but if you break it down into its core components, if you've got a cardio session and a workout weight-based session, you can do cardio in the morning, lift in the evening, lift in the morning, cardio in the evening, lift in the morning and cardio in the morning, lift in the evening and cardio in the evening, like that. I'd say your best bet is going to be cardio in the morning as its own session, a lift in the evening as its own session, with a good amount of food and rest in between, so that you don't feel like you're tired from the cardio during your workout, because those are two completely different sort of stimuluses you're giving yourself, aerobic, anaerobic, ideally. But right now, my main concern is this gap of energy burned versus energy consumed. So making sure I get an hour of cardio a day, that is going to supersede making sure that my recovery from these workouts is absolutely peaked and primed, because I'm not trying to over recover into new gains. I'm just trying to make sure I maintain all the beef I've got on my system already, and then peel off some of that adipose fat layer tissues on the outside very slowly. And honestly, within a week, there's not going to be a massive change in leanness. This is only going to be some detail work from the Vegas show, but enough where it should make a little bit of a difference. Right? So that's one comment I've seen a few times. It's like, Sam, you got to be working on your outer quad for this whole week going into this next show. It's like, shit, man, I'm not growing right now. I have not gained any new muscle tissue, at least not in any meaningful way, over these last 4.5 months. Now, I have maintained a good chunk of all the, myonuclei and all the muscle fibers and everything else that I've already built, because I haven't been in like a complete starvation deficit diet, right? I mean, I've kind of eased into it slowly this whole time. Like, the seriousness of this actual dieting phase is only gradually increased to this level at like a steady rate since the beginning. But yeah, there's no new tissue being built. For the most part, you're either gaining muscle slowly and maintaining a reasonable amount of body fat, that would be main gaining, or you're gaining muscle with a touch of fat, right? A proper bulk, it's just the nature of things, or you're holding on to as much muscle as you can and losing body fat, right? Dieting down. So unless you're a complete beginner where you've never worked out before, that's a situation where you can get leaner and build new muscle tissue. Then those are pretty much your 3 states of being. So, you know, all this mumbo jumbo jargon like, oh, I should do some toning workouts. I want to get a toned look. Nah, man, you got those 3 options: main gain, bulk, or cut. Now, main gaining is definitely good for a while, but once you've done it for at least a couple of years consistently, you should start to realize, like, oh shit, not gaining strength as much as I was. You know, those newbie gains are starting to slow down, and that's where I'd say it's either time to bulk up, see what you can get up to, or cut down, see what you're working with, find your weaknesses, and make adjustments for your next mass gaining phase. But that's, well, we'll get into that later. So plan for legs, no really heavy pressing. Really, I don't think there's going to be much pressing at all. Some sissy squats for sure at the end of quads, but really I'm going to be hanging out on the machines. This is going to be very machine focused. Hamstring curls, leg extensions, some adductor work, a little bit of calf work, and then hopefully at the end of it, when I say hopefully, I know I'm going to have a pretty reasonable leg pump, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see how freaky it actually ends up looking. So no point actually sitting here hypothesizing. Why don't we just go find out for ourselves? So not too heavy, and I've already warmed up on the adductor machine at about half the stack for like 7-8 sets of 10. Like nothing like failure or anything, but just enough where this whole little system of things has been activated. So 100, 130, 160, now 205. This is just about as heavy as I feel comfortable. Like if I went any heavier than this, it would just be unnecessary. It's like if I'm trying to do a light squeezing set of the rope, I don't need to do the stack if I can really feel the squeeze with 120 pounds. At least, you know, right now, peak week, everything else. But let me get a good song going and let's make this shit happen. And these will be pretty controlled. A few more like that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, one more seated, then let's switch to the leg curl. Ooh. No. 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 Okay. Oh, gosh. All right, let's do some leg curls. Nope. Honestly, I think this will be the last set, assuming my hamstrings feel fully cooked at the end of it, which they are close. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's enough for hams. Crap. Let's pop a squat in the leg extension. Let's start light and squeezing, alternating 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and then go from there. Okay. All right. Let's keep increasing weight from there, and then decide how to move forward. Okay. Yeah. One more like that. Holy crap. That feels way heavier than it should. That's all right. Okay. All right, time for a sissy sit. Sissy squat superset. So a little heavier. Let's get some leg extensions. Immediately flip around. Some bodyweight sissy squats, holding onto the top of the seat, both for balance and self-assistance as I get to the last few reps of them. And honestly, given how pumped my quads feel now and how fatigued they feel, this could be it. But if I can tell there's value in doing one more set, I'll do that. No. Okay. Okay. Holy crap. Yeah. I think that's all that's necessary. Let's just get a straight zoom in on the freaking leg skis. Then we can sit down and explain. Because that was certainly not a typical freaking leg day, that's for sure. Only 4 sets for hams and 4 for quads. But you tell me, have they been pumped? Have they been pumped up? I would say, yes, they freaking have. Boy. Reach. Oh goodness. Yeah. That's the dichotomy of the leg pump. The more full of blood they get, the less actually kind of detailed, because all the little striations and details kind of get kind of inflated per se by the extra blood in the area. But I am also holding a little bit of water from that refeed still, which is kind of getting back to normal. So no, I'm not freaking. But I'm definitely going to feel my freaking hamstrings tomorrow. Even sitting on a leg extension after having finished hamstrings, they were burning. I was really getting a good extra hard squeeze at the bottom of those seated curls. And that laying curl machine is just actually freaking perfect in terms of a lighter sort of squeezing movement. And then the leg extensions, hard to go wrong, right? If you got a bum knee or something and squats aren't really, your forte, or maybe your back is hurt or whatever, dude, no shame in camping out on the leg extension. Unless you hog it and don't let people work in, that's its own story, though. But legs are pumped to shit. Now I get to go home, eat a big ass bowl of egg whites with salt and pepper, and go to sleep. So let's just jump straight to the car. All right, so that's a little say it, do as I say, not as I do type situation. Because of course I have gone on record as saying a leg day without some reasonably heavy squats or leg press is potentially less than ideal. But then of course I go out and do just a scrappy squeezing light kind of chill lift. But in the context of what my current goals are for tonight, that matched pretty much freaking perfectly. So honestly, I'm probably gonna feel that tomorrow doing my cardio on the seated bike, but that will be A-O freaking K. So as exciting as it is to say 8 days until the Arnold Amateur, with that, there's another way to say that, right? It's like how 3 rights is a left, 9 days till the next bulking phase. Whoa. But let's not think about that. Let's not think about the opening the floodgates to a freaking zillion calories eventually. Let's focus on the here and now. And I really can't emphasize it enough. I mean, with anything, of course, but just zooming in on even these last 5 months, there was no day of insane progress. There was no singular day or even singular week where I was like, wow, I just burned 5 pounds of body fat this week. Incredible. I really maxed out my effort. I did 4 months of dieting in only 1 week. Sweet. Not exactly, right? So it really is just a day by day, taking little scoops off the bucket, little shavings off the marble, and over time, those begin to add up, right? It's like looking at all those, kind of Instagram pictures where it's like wooden or stone steps or whatever, where they've been ground down, where people keep stepping on them, and it's like, dude, one day was not like a bunch of chunks flew off or anything else. You know, it's we're getting into some Bruce Lee type shit here, right? It's not the power of the water that cuts into the rock and makes canyons. It's its persistence over time, right? It's a very slow process, but if you keep yourself in a state of consistent small progress, it begins to build up, right? So that's where it's shit, man. The working out is kind of a hard sell, right? Until you've really gotten into it and you've actually gone through the process of making gains, where you've basically hardwired your brain to understand, like, oh, this work that I'm putting in is actually resulting in something. Like, I'm not just doing this mindlessly. I'm actually making gains from this every day. Slow, but steady. Until you've actually gone through that, I mean, shit. You know, I guess I'm not surprised that all the New Year's resolutioners, or at least, you know, the majority, a large percentage of them, end up kind of, you know, I don't want to say giving up, but just losing interest might even be a better phrase for it, because you can make a pretty good argument in your mind, like, shit, man, this is like 2 hours of my day. I'm sweating, I'm uncomfortable, this is hard, and I look exactly the same as I did 2 weeks ago. What the hell, man? This is not worth it, you know? So in the guy's mind, he literally argues to himself, all this work that I'm putting in, or that I just put in for the last 3 weeks, if these guys even, like, you know, lock in for that long, it's like, yeah, you know, 3 weeks of grinding for what you might be able to say is nothing, or potentially only maybe negatives. Like, you might be feeling kind of sore outside of the gym. It might be making you extra tired. It's taking away from some of your free time of just chilling. I mean, I get it, right? But that's where you got to go into it, or at least somebody who isn't locked in yet, or maybe has kind of fallen out of their workout routine. Like, shit, man, don't forget, this is like month by month semi-noticeable progress. Now, of course, how many months are you gonna be floating around for? A damn ton? Like thousands? Well, 1,000-ish, or something along those lines. So it's like 1 or 2 months of hard work for not really much results. Shit, man, I mean, you know, imagine going to work every day and not getting a paycheck for 3 months, right? It's kind of demotivating. So all I can say there is, shit, man, thug it out, right? There's a certain barrier to entry of working out, which once you get past the threshold and you start to notice some payback, some actual returns on your investment, that's when it starts to click, right? So that's you climbing up the hill, going up the ski lift, whatever. And once you reach that point where you're like, whoa, I actually feel a little bit bigger, right? You're like Tobey Maguire from the first Spider-Man. Or if you ever hear somebody tell you, like, dude, you been working out? You know, like, just little things like that. It might not seem like much. I mean, to somebody, well, to the uninitiated at least, you know, who even cares, right? Like, these, somebody who doesn't care about working out, the idea of, like, oh, that's a really cool feeling to hear external, you know, validation that what you've been doing has been working. They don't care, you know, so these guys aren't into it. But for you, right, once you reach that point where you're like, oh, crap, this shit's been working, right? All this effort I've been putting in has actually resulted in something tangible and noticeable, and that I enjoy. And then on more like a, you know, subconscious level, you're getting all sorts of damn good feel-good hormones and everything else, endorphins, freaking dopamine, and in a good way, not like in a scrolling for 4 hours on TikTok kind of way. And once you get past that threshold, then things start to move on their own, right? You're eventually going to get to a point, at least hopefully, where the working out, it's not a chore. It's not on the to-do list. It's on your get-to-do list, right? Nobody looks at a vacation itinerary and thinks, oh, crap, okay, I gotta pack my bags, and I gotta check into this, and I gotta go down this water slide, and I gotta go on this boat ride, and I gotta go sit on the beach for 3 hours and play. No, you get to do that, man, because it's fun, because you want to do it, right? I mean, what am I thinking? I just remember like some kind of analogy, whatever, I forget now. But it gets taken off of your to-do list, and it becomes something that you actually are excited for, that you enjoy, and it'll eventually get to a point where it's just what you do. You know, making gains constantly, not constantly, but, you know, having a workout scheduled in your day, it's just a part of what you get to do, right? And it's a fun part. So that's why, you know, I'm kind of repeating myself from yesterday, But once you get past that threshold where you start to realize, okay, all this effort I've been putting into these workouts has resulted in something. All right. Shit, man. Nice. Well, maybe I should try to improve and kind of optimize my effort and get better results, And I don't think you should immediately go down the rabbit hole of like, okay, I'm going to start making sure my workouts are perfectly optimized and I'm going to do short head and long head and whatever else. Like, of course, work out in such a way that you're excited about. So if you like to look at it as that hyper analytical scientific vector of everything else and like meso, like that's totally solid, right? Make sure your intensity is up there. But if that's what your mind clicks with in terms of getting your training going, solid. Right? I'm not going to dog on you for that. That's just, as long as you're getting pumped and you're making gains, sweet. What I'm more concerned with though is, okay, all right, I just had a pretty good chest day, and honestly I didn't really get that good of sleep last night. I bet if I went to bed a little earlier and got some more good sleep, I'd be a bit more well rested and I'd have a better workout. And then I'd recover better and make more gains while I'm sleeping, come back bigger, lift harder, be tired, come back, sleep. Like, it's right, little things like that. So that's the non-flashy part of the working out, which if you can get yourself excited about, because you can kind of wire in your mind like, okay, if I sleep well, if I drink enough water, if I get a good amount of meals in, then my training is going to improve and my gains are going to improve, right? Upward freaking spiral. So that's all I'm getting at there, right? So once you get past that point of no return, as I would say, the likelihood that you're going to keep improving, right, and keep kind of chopping off all the little sharp edges and crevices around the boulder of your gains, the easier it's going to be to push it. The faster you're going to get it rolling, the further you're going to go. So don't get lost in the fluff of all the random workout jargon that gets kind of talked about. I mean, like anything, it's always the newest trend and the meta, what just got buffed, what's the greatest tricep workout. If you ever catch yourself doing rope extensions, you're killing your gains. Nah, man, come on, bro. Filter out the noise, turn your noise cancellation on, train hard, train a lot, eat a good amount of food for what your goals are, and wait, right? I mean, if you want to grow a damn tree, you don't sit there and like scream at it and try to make sure the light, and just let it sit, man. It knows what's going on. You just got to be comfortable with the fact that it's going to take a while. But the sooner you start, the sooner that this time that's going to pass anyway is going to start working in your favor, right? Because every day that you don't work out is one more day of no gains. And as I've said probably a zillion freaking times, and I'll say 2 zillion more, and if anybody could press one instant little button for immediate gains out of nowhere, no cost to you at all, everybody would do it. So add the asterisk of reasonably consistent training, give yourself a good kind of daily activity or semi-daily activity. Shit, man, I think that may as well be the same freaking button, right? It's just on a little bit of a delay. So I know you're not well, I guess if you are, then good on you, but odds are you're not Gary V with like an 18-hour work schedule. I'm not trying to call you out. I'm included in this group. But if you look at your screen time on your phone, odds are you got a nasty amount of hours. You can maybe spare a couple to get a damn pump. So that's I think we can just leave it at that. So last leg day done, I think. So the rest of this week, chill. In the sense that, no more legs, right? So some chest, some shoulders, some arms, some chest, some shoulders, some arms, some back. Probably doubling up on a couple of those, and then the last few days pre-contest will just be nothing. Right? Getting depleted, getting dry, getting carved up, and then getting my freaking posing improved. I have been practicing, that is for freaking sure. So things to, just keep an eye out for those adjustments come next week. But that's all I got. So I'm going to try to go to bed early, get my cardio done even earlier, and then I will see you for a back day tomorrow. So see you then.